The camera zooms into a silent school hallway, lockers dented, papers scattered. A trembling teacher leans against the wall, blood trickling from her lip. A tall student, eyes full of arrogance, walks away smirking. Mrs. Clara Jensen had been teaching chemistry for only 6 months at Lincoln High. To her students, she was just another quiet, middle-aged teacher who spoke softly and smiled too much. No one knew she had served 8 years in the military, deployed twice, decorated once, before leaving to start a quieter life. Every morning she arrived early, lined up the lab equipment neatly, and wrote motivational quotes on the board. Her students never noticed the tiny tattoo on her wrist, the one she tried to hide, a small eagle symbolizing her old unit. But not everyone respected her calmness. Among her students was Ryan Cole, the school's most feared bully. He was 17, tall and cruel. His father was a wealthy businessman who believed money could fix any problem, and Ryan had learned that arrogance early. Ryan's life was full of chaos. His parents barely spoke to each other, and anger became his only language. He picked on the weak, mocked the teachers, and ruled the classroom through fear. Mrs. Jensen had seen hundreds like him before. Young soldiers filled with rage, trying to prove something to the world. But she stayed patient, never raising her voice, even when he mocked her during lessons. One day, during a chemistry experiment, Ryan began his usual taunting. "Hey, Miss Jensen," he sneered, waving a test tube. "Maybe if you smiled less and taught better, we wouldn't fail." The class laughed. Clara looked at him calmly. "Ryan, please put the test tube down. It's hydro." Before she could finish, the tube slipped and shattered. Acid splashed near another student. The class screamed. Clara reacted instantly, grabbed the student, and checked for burns. No harm done. But instead of apologizing, Ryan rolled his eyes. "Relax, it's not a war zone. You don't need to act like some soldier." The word soldier hit her like a bullet, not because it offended her, but because it came from a place of ignorance. That day, Clara didn't report him. She stayed behind after class, silently cleaning the mess. But her hands trembled, not from fear but from memories. Memories of dusty battlefields, of brothers she had lost, of moments when she had to be stronger than she ever wanted to be. Still, she hoped he'd learn. She always hoped. Until that Friday. It was raining heavily that morning. The corridors smelled of wet clothes and tension. Clara entered her classroom to find the lights off. When she turned them on, she froze. Her board was covered with cruel graffiti. "Army Psycho. Go back to war." Laughter echoed from the back. "Ryan and his friends." Clara's lips quivered, but her eyes didn't waver. Ryan outside. Now, he stood up slowly, smirking. "Why, you gonna order me to drop and give you 20? The class laughed again. Clara walked closer, voice steady. "Nof. Apologize to your classmates. This ends today." Ryan's expression darkened. He hated being challenged. "Or what?" he hissed, stepping closer. "You'll call my dad? Go ahead. He pays your salary." Clara's patience broke. "No, Ryan. I won't call your father. I'll call the police if you keep this up." The word police sent him into a rage. He grabbed her collar and shoved her against the lab table. Test tubes fell, glass shattered. And then silence. Her eyes, calm yet fierce, met his. She didn't fight back immediately. She didn't scream. She just stared at him with the same eyes she once used to face enemies who held rifles at her chest. Ryan faltered for the first time. His grip loosened. But it was too late. In one swift, trained motion, she twisted his wrist, broke free, and pinned his arm against the table. He gasped in pain, immobilized. The class was frozen in shock. Her voice was low, the same voice she used to command troops. She released him and stepped back. "Get out." That moment changed everything. Within hours, the principal called an emergency meeting. Parents came. Police arrived. Students gave statements. Ryan's story fell apart quickly. There were videos, witnesses, everything. When the truth came out, Ryan was expelled. His father tried to sue the school, but the footage made it impossible. Instead, Ryan was sent to a rehabilitation program for aggressive youth supervised by veterans. Ironically, Clara volunteered there months later as a mentor. Ryan avoided her at first, but over time, he saw something in her he'd never seen before. Strength with compassion. The kind he had always needed but never found at home. She nodded. "It's not about sorry, Ryan. It's about becoming better than what hurt you." That day, for the first time in years, Ryan cried. Years later, Ryan became a counselor for troubled teens, teaching them the same lesson Mrs. Jensen had taught him, that real strength is in self-control, not violence. The camera fades on Mrs. Jensen, smiling quietly at the back of the room, proud, not of the punishment, but of the redemption.